Gentleman yields back. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Carter, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And before I begin, let me say what an honor it's been serving with you, Mr. Chairman, on this committee, and particularly on this subcommittee. You have done an outstanding job, your leadership, and particularly for your constituents. East Palestine was a tragedy, and you were there immediately, and you were there in the extended time as well, and set a great example for all of us as members of Congress. So thank you for that. Mr. Goffman, thank you, and welcome back to the committee. As you know, the U.S. is a global leader in natural gas. I'm very proud of that. That's something that I consider to be an asset, not a liability. We should be exporting natural gas. I know in my district we have a plant that has been converted in the past years from being an import facility to an export facility. I consider that to be progress, and I think that's good. We should be exporting good, clean American energy. We lead in both the production, and we have excellent environmental standards here in this country, and I think that we should be both very proud of both of those. Affordable and clean energy around the world improves the environment. We all know that. We know we can't solve the climate crisis without a global buy-in and without making sure that everyone's doing their part. That's why we should be exporting our innovation and our clean energy here. But I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated with this administration because they've vilified the industry as a whole. And I don't think that's an understatement. I think that's correct. I think this administration has vilified the industry as a whole and has vilified fossil fuels as a whole. I'm one who believes in all of the above type energy strategy and that we're going to have this in order to move forward. We should be partners in promoting American energy and not fighting each other. But the history of the EPA attempting to regulate methane emissions going all the way back to the Obama administration. Now, in August of 2020, during the Trump administration, the EPA issued final rules to control methane emissions from oil and gas sources. The first thing this administration did, the first thing the Biden administration did was when they came into office, was begin to roll back these standards issued by the Trump administration. And what we find is that under the Clean Air Act, the EPA is only authorized to regulate a source of category if it contributes significantly to air pollution, and if it's anticipated to endanger public health or welfare. I would submit to you that that's not the case here with natural gas. In 2020, the EPA reversed the position and rolled back the rules from the prior administration. Why didn't you do a methane-specific endangerment finding prior to finalizing those rules?
If I can, I'd like to answer the question in part here and maybe get back to you with some more information.
That'll be fine.
If I recall correctly, and this is where I want to confirm what I'm saying in follow-up, I believe the EPA under the Obama administration did make such a finding based on a 2009 finding that methane was one of the greenhouse gases that presented a threat to public health.
Okay, and if you'll clarify that for me and verify that for me, I appreciate that.
I'd be more comfortable clarifying it.
Thank you.
Maybe writing in follow-up or just.
So why didn't you do a methane-specific endangerment finding prior to finalizing these rules that we're talking about today?
I believe that the finding we did make, or that the foundation of our final action, was consistent with the requirements of Section 111 of the Clean Air Act.
How much let me ask you this, how much does EPA consider the larger picture? Do you ever look at the total picture, the larger picture of reducing emissions and the role that natural gas plays in reducing global emissions when making determinations like this?
In this particular role, we were building on the strength of the oil and gas sector and its economic and technological leadership on a global basis.
Do you agree that the United States should be exporting natural gas?
I agree that the U.S. should be playing a broad leadership role on a number of economic fronts. And as I said,
that's not what my question was. My question was, do you believe that the United States should be exporting natural gas?
My understanding is that we are doing.
I know we are, but do you believe that we should be?
Well, we're certainly supportive of the economic activities of this industry and its response to the
But if it
domestic and
does
global
decrease
market.
global emissions to other countries, and therefore we're helping to decrease global emissions, don't you think that's a good thing?
I think the U.S. leadership role in reducing global emissions is significant. I think rules like this are a significant part of our leadership, and I think
Okay.
the proof is that at the COP, a number of international operators and countries joined with us in committing to take actions to reduce methane from this industry.
Okay, well, I'm out of time, but I look forward to you getting back with me on some of those questions. Thank you, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady.